Hey guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to No Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to. All right, guys, we're back and we're here in the basement of Hemp Q. So usually, a lot of times, you guys will see us filming actually upstairs, like almost literally. We live right above this building, right above this on the second floor. But today we have a little bit different flavor. But before we dive in, remember, if you're watching this or listening to this, it's because you're on a Weed to No basis. You're going to want to get your pens and paper out, and you're going to want to take notes, because this is one of the things that makes what we do very special. We have a pretty cool cat on today, and you can already see him right over here. I'm going to introduce him here in a sec. Remember, guys, if you're driving, don't get your pens and your text messages out. Go back and listen to this later, or watch this later. But yeah, if you're listening, you're on a Weed to No basis. So today we're here in the basement of Hemp Q, and I got my homie here, Scott Fritz. And I could probably go on and on about an intro, but I'm going to give you guys just a few high-level bullet points. No pun intended. High level. So Scott, I'm going to talk about a quick intro. Serial entrepreneur, that's serial with an S, not a C, like Captain Crunch. Business coach, author, speaker, angel investor. And we've talked about angels before, guys. And so go back to some other episodes where we talked about what that means for you as an entrepreneur. And the author of the 40-hour work year. The 40-hour work year, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Here's a few other things. And these are words to listen to. We've talked about core values, passion, respect, ingenuity, optimism, opportunities. Those are things on Scott's website that describe him. Scott, welcome to Weed to No Basis.
Thank you, Rick. Great to be here.
Nice. I want to hear, first of all, you drove down from Austin, and that's about an hour away, so super much gratitude. And so those little things, guys, will have those small things turn out to be the biggest things. Tell us about the 40-hour work year. Why did you write that?
Yeah, so I sold my company, and I was going around, this was 2007, I sold in 2007, and I was going around helping some other entrepreneurs sell their business, transition out of their company, set their company up for sale. And I do these talks to different groups, and I called it transition, position, acquisition. So transition yourself out of the business, position it to either acquire or be acquired, and then either start acquiring or get acquired. So transition, position, acquisition. Invariably, I do these talks and people say, when's the book coming out? When are you going to write the book? And I was like, I don't want to write a book. It's painful. Everybody I knew, it's like, oh man, it was painful. So I was like, oh, well, at least as a bucket list thing, I'll write the book. So I write the book, get it all done. I go, okay, well, a title, transition, position, acquisition, that's not, there's no sizzle there at all. I mean, sell the sizzle, not the steak. I mean, that's a pretty boring title. So I was like, I started to remember that a lot of my friends who I knew through the entrepreneurial community would always say, well, what do you do? What do you work, like maybe 40 hours a year, 30 hours a year? I go, yeah, probably about 40 hours a year or less, because the company runs itself. So sure enough, I went online, 40hourworkyear.com was available, because you got to check out the website first. Boom, that was the name of my book. So that's how the title came out.
I love it. I love the premise of it. And I love the whole sell the sizzle, not the steak. And it's those micro things, guys. It's those things that are in between the lines. Transition, position, acquisition. I love those kind of, it's a mnemonic device. Also the 40-hour work year, and you bought the URL. Was this before Tim Ferriss's book?
No. 4-Hour Work Week was out before I even started my company. I think it was, so it was back out in the 90s. Yeah. But it's the 40-hour work year is my story of how I totally removed myself from the business, systematized it, and the company ran itself. 4-Hour Work Week's more about outsourcing and things like that. I mean, it's a similar premise in that you work less, but mine's about my story of how I took a company from 0 to 170 million in 10 years and sold it. And the last 4 years I had the business, I didn't work in it or on it at all. Well, I mean, 30 some hours. Yeah. So that was the whole premise of the book. And it was interesting, Rick, and you know this, because so I was coaching 2 different companies, and I was kind of, buying into companies, angel investing, and the book comes out May of 2010. 4 months later, I had 9 coaching clients. So the book, immediately, people were like, hey, can you help us do what you did? So it was a marketing tool, basically.
Interesting. Yeah. No, and I love that. So a few things is you went from 0 to 170 million.
Yep.
And I pick up on that, folks, because we all essentially start at 0. We all start with no sales,
Yep.
with no marketing, with no stuff, no office, no employees.
Yep.
And it took you how long again?
10 years.
10 years.
To
10.
exit. Yeah.
10. There's no such thing. Overnight successes, guys, are 10 years in the making. You've heard that over and over and over. Tell us real briefly, what was the company?
So it was a PEO, a professional employer organization. So we outsourced HR, payroll, benefits for small entrepreneurial companies. Most of our clients were in the 50 to 100 employee range. We had some clients that were in the 500 employee range, but typically anything you would do with an HR department in-house, we outsourced for you and took on, it's called co-employment. We became co-employers of your employees. So your Section 125, your 401k, all your tax payments, your payroll, your benefits, all of that junk of business was outsourced to us for a fee, and we took care of that.
Gotcha. Took care of it unarguably in a very big way.
Yeah, well, when we sold, we were in 42 states. So
Okay.
we were spread across 42, we had clients in 42 states. Top line was 170 million. The company wasn't that big as a company because it was mainly all, process driven and technology driven. But yeah, I had 12 salespeople when we sold. So I mean, from a sales organization, it was decent size.
Gotcha. Now, okay, so entrepreneur, built your company, 10 years in the making, had from 0 to 170. You had written the book based on the experiences, and the book became a marketing tool. So describe to us, what is it because you're busy. To be clear, guys, I don't believe, and you all will agree, that entrepreneurs, we don't ever really retire. We just kind of find different places to put our energy into. So what does a year look like, or a month, or what are you doing now, basically?
Yeah, so typically about 4 months a year, and it's spread up over the course of a year. I'm coaching companies, I'm speaking to companies, and/or I'm involved basically on an advisory level too. I'm in 6 different angel deals right now. So I'm either speaking, coaching, I do some phone coaching for some entrepreneurs. I have 6 entrepreneurs I coach monthly. And then I do annual strategic planning, I do quarterly planning, and attending things like your great conferences and stuff like that. So that's about 4 months of the year, spread out over the year.
Gotcha. But it keeps you busy.
Oh yeah, it's plenty. It's plenty to do. Empty nesters now. Both my daughters one's about to graduate college, the other one's married and lives in Houston. So, you want to stay relevant. You want to keep the mind sharp. You want to, stay active. Things like this. But I don't ever want to work again, so to speak. And I don't want to be back to where I always tell people. Work is something. To me, the definition is something you have to do. So if I have to do it, I consider that as work. And so I like to just do things that I enjoy, as we've talked about. My filters: enjoy life, make money, do deals, in that order. So I'm sitting here today, I like you, we're good friends, have some fun, I enjoy this, that's why I'm here. Somebody calls me up and, hey, you want to come do this project with us? And I don't either like the idea of the project or the person, I'm like, no, I'm not interested. So that's my filter.
Nice. And I love that. I love the money, life, and deals, and that's the filter.
Yeah.
And you may have heard, sometimes my wife and I talk about laptop Wi-Fi sandwich.
Yep.
We're retooling to laptop Wi-Fi tacos because I am Hispanic, for those of you guys who don't know. But some people don't know what a sandwich is, and so. But it's awesome to have those personal filters. Mm-hmm. I led off talking about some of your core values, and those arguably, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but that might define who you are as a company.
Correct.
But then we have our own internal mantra or values that define who we are as people, and what we will and will not do.
Correct.
It repels and it attracts the right people and the wrong people.
Correct.
And plus, I imagine it keeps you and your wife happy to know that you're not going to go back and do things that are like, Scott, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, we got 26 years next week, 26-year anniversary.
Dang.
Yeah. So.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Wow, 26 years. That's, you probably heard this, that's like a statistic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to do a different episode. Take note of this, because to statistics, people think that we can't choose them, but statistics are a choice having to do with your business or life or marriage. Mm-hmm. And I actually have literally a note to do an episode on statistics being a choice for business. So. Nice. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we've gone to wine country several times, so know Jennifer very well. Our daughters went to the same school, Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor.
Baylor.
Sick Bears.
Yeah. I think that's how it is, right? Something
Sick
yeah. So you sold the business. You've transitioned into being an advisor, basically, coach, an angel. Have you? And I do believe one of your investments, what you've done is you've invested in the cannabis industry itself.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a kind of a interesting story. When I decided to move back to Texas, because I used to live here, and I got on the phone with you, it was kind of like interesting how the serendipity of the pieces all kind of came together. But this would have been now probably close to 10 years ago. I was coaching an individual who lived out in California, and he owned 5 hydroponic shops. So he actually owned 2 at the time, and then through coaching him, he grew to 5 hydroponic shops. Sold those, moved to Colorado, surprise, surprise, a few years ago, and started producing CBD oil. And so I'm an investor in his CBD oil company.
Nice.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. But I've known him for quite a while, so.
Yeah, and it started as a coaching relationship.
Yeah, correct.
And some things I want to drive home this point, because honestly, we take some of this for granted because it's things we've done. But for the folks who are trying to wrap their mind around how do you coach a cannabis company, and then describe and then you just recently spoke to a real estate investment company, and the premise of coaching or business is I believe this is business is business is business.
Correct.
The technical aspects, the tactical aspects, they apply to a green firm as much as they do to a real estate. Would you agree?
Absolutely, that's a great point. And people, I'll get called or meet somebody at an event, and they'll say, well, we'd like to maybe have you work with us, but I don't know, we're pretty unique. I don't know that you can help us. And I tell them exactly what you just said. I say, look, yes, you are unique, just as we as human beings are unique. But your business, the way it should run, the way it should be set up, the operations, the systems, the finance, the people, the HR, is all universal. It's a universal system that should be implemented so that you can spend more time working on your uniqueness and less time working on the mundane day-to-day running of a business. So I think it's spot on.
Gotcha. Powerful points there, guys. And take note, and this is one of those shameless marketing things I'm going to put out there, because that's what Green Sea does. That's one of the reasons we exist, to really let you guys know that business is business is business. And to what Scott said is when one gets their business operating like a machine, then it allows you, the individual or the one who exited, to focus on what makes something unique.
Correct.
Whether it's your life or your company. So don't ever forget that, guys. That's probably one of the most powerful takeaways in any of the episodes we've ever done, is that I'm going to toot his horn. He's worked with some high-level clients, again, no pun intended, across the country, around the world. We've done sessions all over around the world, and the things that go into making a business churn and burn are universal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and we're going to talk more not in this episode, but later on, guys, we're going to dive a little deeper with Scott about exactly what that means. Like, what does that mean? Like, if you were to spend a day with a company, what would that mean? And so, but not this episode. This is really just get to know Scott and introduce you guys to some folks that you honestly would never have otherwise met. And that's because we're in the grindstone. We have nose to the grindstone all the time. So, tell me about those. So, and I'm taking this from your website: passion, respect, experiences, ingenuity, optimism. Those are your business core values. That's on your website.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Why is that important?
So just as I work with clients and I say, look, until you have your mission, vision, and values in place, everything else you're creating is just, spray and pray. I mean, you might as well just throw something at the wall and hope it sticks, right? We've all heard that. So your mission, vision, values are how you should drive all your decision-making processes in your company. So when I talk about my values, so passion for everything entrepreneurial, that's my first one. So it's not just passion like, woo, I'm excited, I get excited and passionate. No, passion for everything entrepreneurial. If it's entrepreneurial, I have passion for it. If it's a nonprofit or a big bureaucratic organization or something that's not entrepreneurial, tap out. I'm not interested because it's not entrepreneurial, right? Respect, I have respect for life experiences. All I mean there is, although we may not agree on the way to live our lives, I respect you and how you live your life, just as I would want you to respect me and how I live my life. So that's where respect comes from. Ingenuity as the filter, that's my creative word. So ingenuity means I'm going to look at something first, and before we just put the blinders on and keep going down the same path, let's filter through what you have and haven't tried, or maybe someone that I know that can I connect you with who could help you with something. So be, ingenious. Be creative about what you're doing. And then lastly, optimism illuminates opportunities. I think most people know this, right? If I wake up with a smile on my face and I'm happy and I'm going after it, it's amazing what I see. Vice versa, when I'm kind of down or I'm having a bad day, lots of opportunities passing by, I don't even notice them because I don't have that lens of being positive and forward looking.
Yeah, and so mission, vision, values, and you mentioned that without those, it's a spray and pray. And why do you think companies start with that spray and pray mentality?
Well, again, you know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, right? It's the same concept. So I think there's a lot of this in the media especially, right? It's, you know, and again, I know you've used the hustle as well, and I'm not against those kind of words, but if it's just the hustle for the sake of hustle, or if it's just being busy, I always say, are you being busy or are you being productive? So if you don't have a plan or a system or a filter to work off of, I can use up 19 hours in a day and not get much sleep too. But was I productive? Wouldn't it be better to use up 5 hours in a day and get the same amount done that took 19 for somebody else to do? And that's where I think mission, vision, values, and then your plan is what you execute against. It's not everything, but it gives you a roadmap. And you probably have talked about this in some of your episodes, being intentional, right? So if you're doing things intentionally, you're intentionally following a roadmap, you're intentionally following your culture map, I call it, which is your mission, vision, values. Your brain is an amazing thing, both ways. Your brain will naturally, at least it has for me in my experience, lead me in the direction that I should be going versus just winging it or, you know, hanging out at Starbucks hoping to meet somebody someday. Nothing wrong with hanging out at Starbucks, but be intentional. If you notice there's somebody there that, you know, is in the same business as you or somebody you'd like to meet, go up and start a conversation. Buy them a cup of coffee. Be intentional.
Nice. Love it. There was so much I could pull out of that, and I think I would say that's what separates the businesses and the entrepreneurs who succeed and the ones who wonder how the other people succeeded. Right. And it goes back to foundation, fundamentals, intention, and then we can say the hustle, the relentless pursuit of success. Right. And most times folks flip it around.
Correct.
They begin with the hustle and the grind, and then I've said this before, and it really torques me. And listen to this. Is then one sees a meme on Facebook one day. It's the quote that's like, "I never lose. I either win or I learn."
Right.
And it's like, no. No, that means, especially for an entrepreneur, generally speaking, that you shot out of the gate with hustle and grind and no plan or intent. Right. And that's really the essence, guys. The essence of why I wanted to have this chat with Scott and with you guys, and why you have to listen to the subsequent chunks we're going to talk to Scott about what that literally means in your business. So right now, these are just words. Honestly, for a lot of you listening, you're in startup mode, you're thinking about a cannabis startup, and they're words. But when we do the subsequent episodes, when you guys tune into those, you're going to learn exactly how to apply those. So,
when you bring up a great point there, so I said my filters: enjoy life, make money, do deals. However, as I talk about my book, and I learned the hard way in the beginning it was do deals, make money, enjoy life. It was totally backwards. So I'm a deal junkie, right? So I was doing deals like crazy. I wasn't always making money at them, even though that was number 2. And I sure the bleep wasn't enjoying life, right? So it was totally backwards, which is that hustle and grind thing. I was thinking just doing more was gonna make it better. That wasn't true. I was doing deals, felt good about it, but a lot of those deals were losing my company money.
Interesting.
Can't make that up in volume. I mean, you're just going down the spiral. So I had to change that to make money, do deals, enjoy life. And that's what we did in the company. We totally shifted the way we priced everything. If we weren't gonna make our margin on it, we did not do the deal. Now, enjoy life was still third, but at least I got rid of the do deals being first, if that makes sense. And then over time, as I built the business and learned to let go and not have to be the guy controlling everything, it changed to enjoy life, make money, do deals, which is how it's been now for 15 years.
What caused the shift? Like, what was it? Was it something that spoke to you or you felt?
Yeah, so in the book, I call it the mirror moment. So it was a Thursday. I had 18 closing appointments in 1 week. 18 closing appointments, not first appointments. So I was meeting with people like you, people that own businesses, to sell them my service. And you know why I had 18, Rick, obviously. It wasn't because I was a great salesperson. It was because I had to do everything. Yeah. Nobody can sell better than me. They'll screw it up. They'll mess it up. I have to be the guy. I have to be the one. You know, I want to be, ego. That's what it was. Pull into a parking lot, gonna get some great fast food. You know, it was a cold day in Michigan, so it was December in Michigan. Not feeling so well, I parked the car, I look up in the mirror, I was pasty white, more white than I should be living in Michigan. I still was pasty white, sweating profusely, put my seat back to kind of take a deep breath, and I passed out. Woke back up, went in and got something to eat, you know, some great fast food, and you know, I was 39 years old, by the way. I wasn't that old. I mean, I was 32 years old. Sorry, I was 32 years old. And driving home that night, I was like, wow, that wasn't just low blood sugar or dehydration. That was my body telling me, knock it off. You've been going like this 90 plus hours a week for 2 years, and I had a nervous breakdown, panic attack, health crisis all rolled into one. And thank God my body shut down and made me realize this is dumb. 2 weeks later, hired a salesperson, first salesperson. 2 weeks after that, I hired another one, never looked back. Haven't had anything like that since. And that was my mirror moment, or my shift from doing deals is gonna make this better. No, I needed to shift to making money. Let the deals come from the concept of let's set up a system that makes us money so we can build the business and hire people to do the work and grow quicker without growing, you know, crazier.
Yeah. That's a strong story, and it's even more, at least for me, it has a lot more relevance because I spent a lot of time as an ER nurse. And in one of our episodes, I talked about seeing that, like what you experienced. You were in your car. What as an ER trauma nurse, we would see that roll into our ERs, and almost literally what you experienced was what we saw. People saying, I should have listened, or I needed to slow down, or I needed to rethink my business. And those are lessons I learned as well. And also something I want to bring up is that one of our earlier episodes was with Jesse Elder. Go back and listen to that one, guys, because we talked about ego. And I'm going to throw my 2 cents is that ego is not always bad. It's just, you know, there could be healthy ego. You know, I believe as an entrepreneur, we need to have some ego. We need some strong belief. But when it gets to the point where you have a mirror moment, and you guys know what that is, you probably have had some too, then we know that it's probably an unhealthy ego. Right. So it shifted the way you thought about life and business. Yeah, it was a mindset shift. So I have 4 or 5, well, there's 5, but 4 specific mindset shifts that I talk about in the book, and that was the first real mindset shift for me. Well, the first mindset shift for me was start a business. That was a mindset shift. So move from an employee mindset to an ownership mindset, right? Yeah. That's the very first one. Jump off that cliff without a parachute. The bank owned everything, took out a second mortgage on the house. I mean, that was a big mindset shift. But the first mindset shift in my business was my mirror moment, which was, okay, if I keep doing this, I'm going to end up dead, divorced, or worse. I don't know if you get much worse than that, but probably both. All of the above.
Yeah, probably both of those. And so that was a big mindset shift for me. It was, this isn't working, you know, just a definition of insanity, right? Just keep doing the same thing, thinking it's going to change, never does. So that was a big moment for me to really move to saying, okay. And again, I hadn't so much got it down to enjoy life, make money, do deals. I hadn't figured that out yet, but reflecting on where I was in the do deal stage. And because of that physical manifestation of panic and stress and overworking, it made me go, whoa, there's a better way than this. This is not, I don't have to be the guy. I could hire some people who could help me be the company versus just the guy.
Interesting. So mindset's pretty powerful.
Oh, it's everything, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything.
I do too. Actually, there's another one of those I'm going to stop saying shameless marketing, guys. You know what I do. I wear this t-shirt for a reason. When in our accelerator program, our actual curriculum, we start not with tactical things or strategy or how to run ads. We start with how to get your shit straight up here. Yep. We talk right off the bat, and it's several videos that we've done that get yourself right up here. And one of the things, if you guys, this is something you should write down, the first shift is getting out of the employee mindset. Correct. And I think that's where a lot of folks get stuck, is we believe that the safety net, having that backup plan or that net, it makes it easier to quit. And then we post the memes, and then your mom says, oh, but you tried, Ricky. And then it's like, but you didn't, because you never got out of the mindset of having a safety net or employee. And so power. And I'm glad you said that. Guys, and we did not script this. You almost would think that, but no, we start off our programs with getting your head straight and focused.
I would say, Rick, desperation is a great motivator.
Yeah. It is.
Standing in the shower, no clients, burning through $12,000 a month. I mean, that was our burn rate in our business. No income, no payroll. I was living off my wife's, she's making 40 grand a year, manager at the Gap. I mean, that's what we lived on. One baby born, another one on the way. I mean, desperation. I mean, I remember standing in the shower, staring at the wall going, what have I done? I mean, because we had no revenue. I mean, I didn't take a paycheck for over 2 years.
Wow. That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
No, that's real. Yeah. And I love it. So it's desperation. And honestly, that's the most potent fuel.
It is.
Yeah. And then when you have kids who they want clothes and they want to eat, they need to be fed. And it's like,
that's right.
Oh, geez. I can't say I know exactly what that feels like.
Yep.
Dang. Crazy. What's next? What's next for you?
Well, I'm going to continue doing coaching probably at least for another, just call it 10 years-ish, something like that. One of the things I've started to kind of shift to with my angel investments, which I probably do more of, is getting a little more involved with them and helping them maybe look towards more of an exit plan, so to speak, for the business. So what I'm saying is, instead of having, right now I've got close to 15 coaching clients that I work with, stop taking on new ones. So I'll keep working with whoever wants to keep working with me. For a while, not now, but next 5 to 10 years down the road, and then take 1 or 2, probably 2 companies a year and really work with them on creating an exit plan for their business. So this would be more involved than just once a quarter. It'd probably be more of a bi-weekly or at least once a month interaction with the executive team and helping them really put that exit together. Because I've done that with several companies, I really enjoy that. I'm not going to business broker it. I'm going to be more of a transition to acquisition type concept. And just putting all the pieces in place to help people exit. Because I just love that when people, if a company really decides they want to sell their business, there's just not a better feeling when you ring that bell and it happens, right? And a lot of times, the reason that doesn't happen, which the statistics, you're talking about statistics, are amazing at how few companies actually ever sell. It's a really small number. And honestly, I think the main reason is they don't have the knowledge or the connections or the confidence in doing it. It's not that they wouldn't want to. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to bring on the right people. They don't know the kinds of things to put in place. So probably, the exit planning world, it's still coaching in a way, but it's more intentional to actually exit the business. Most of the clients I coach, there's no intention to exit. There's just an intention to grow it and remove themselves from the business as much as possible.
Gotcha. Yeah, things to take note of, guys. And we're not going to dive into the angel side because we've talked about that in other episodes, but exciting stuff. I love the employee mindset shift and the mirror moment because those are human things. Those are, and anybody out there, any of you can relate to this. We're not talking about something you have to, a book you have to read or a course you have to take. These are things that you absolutely can begin to shift and work on right now. It starts here, and so really love it, and I really appreciate you coming down.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah,
it's been great.
This has been cool. This has been good, and we could probably be talking for a long time, but we're going to be bringing you back and talking more about a little bit more tactical.
Okay.
So now that we all know, I've known Scott, but now that you guys know a little bit about the flavor and what he brings to the game of cannabis business growth, is in subsequent episodes, you guys are going to want to listen to them. We're going to talk more about, okay, so now you know who he is. Let's talk a little tactical. Let's talk a little strategy. Let's talk about what it is that you can basically lay out for the cannabis startup or cannabis fast growth company. So you're going to want to tune into those guys. Where can people find you? If they want to follow you or maybe connect with you or...
Sure. Well, I prefer LinkedIn. So, if you go to LinkedIn and just type in Scott Fritz, I'll come up. I have the most, at least of all the Scott Fritzes in the world, I have the most LinkedIn connections. So you find me on there. If not, Growth Connect. Pun intended or not intended. Growth Connect, GROWTH Connect.com is my website. Scott@growthconnect.com is my email.
Cool. And we'll put all those links, guys, here on the show notes. And guys, if you have questions, by all means, don't ask them now if you're driving, but make sure to post them in the comments. We'll get back to you right away. One of the other things I noticed is that before we got on here, I pulled up my computer, and who'd have thought that, at this point, at this juncture in time, that what Scott has done with this company, Growth Connect, and the logo being green, that we'd be talking about.
Yeah, and I launched that in 2008, so we're talking 11 years ago. I launched Growth Connect. So
Crazy. Really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure, man.
Cool. Guys, stay tuned. You don't want to follow up on the other episodes with Scott, and we're going to talk a little bit more strategy, tactics. Remember, guys, if you're listening to this, first of all, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate you guys hopping on here, listening on your iPhone or your iPods, watching us on YouTube or WeedTube. Don't forget, we're also on WeedTube. And if you're listening, guys, if you've tuned in, it's because, first of all, you're hungry. We're delivering something that nobody else has, especially for the cannabis startup entrepreneur, but it's also mainly because you're on a weed to know basis. Have an awesome day, guys. Peace.